Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. I hope you had a happy new year. This will be your weekly reading for the week of January 4th through the 10th, so the first full week of the new year. And during that time, we're coming off full moon energy from the 3rd, but that can kind of linger and stay into the 4th and sometimes even after, really just depending on the moon and where you are. And of course, that's a time of heightened emotions. Some of us can feel prone to feeling overwhelmed and anxious, or sometimes it's just the opposite. You just have really good high energy, which is usually how that affects me. So pay attention to that moon energy. We then move into the waning gibbous, which of course is a time for self-reflection and rebirth, a good time to make positive changes and to get rid of bad habits and negative thinking, which is perfect, I think, for that first full week of the new year, especially if you're jumping onto those New Year's resolutions with some gusto. So don't overdo it, but try to stick to those. All right, this will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading: believe in the impossible. All right, let's see what the cards have to say for you guys for this week. Oops, let's get all of them there. As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder this week is that you take some time to try to work meditation into your routine. So if it's something you already do, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, try to get that in. If it's just a couple of times a week, if you can work on it daily, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, just try to start working that into your routine. But just, find some time for yourself. Just close your eyes and go within and just see what happens for you. If you need a guided meditation, there's lots of those out there on YouTube. I know sometimes my house can get kind of just a little more active than usual, so I might have to put some headphones on and use a guided meditation. So whatever works for you. All right, let's get right into this reading here. January 4th through the 10th. Believe in the impossible. Your present energy right now is feeling a little bit like you against the world. Did this light come on here? Turn my light back on. No, I was wondering why we were so dark there. There we go. That's a little better. Feeling a little bit like you against the world here with the 7 of Wands. So, let's see what's going on as the cards, if you're believing in the impossible, it might be something that you're holding on to that you haven't convinced the rest of the world of yet. So let's see where that goes. Your current situation is some sort of ending here with the 10 of Swords. Is something that you're definitely done with. And that light keeps going off, and I don't really know why. It's probably not charged. So sorry if things are a little darker than usual, but we'll get through it. 10 of Swords. So yeah, some kind of ending that you're working through here, and you're just kind of done. That's maybe why you're feeling like it's you against the world, just some sort of ending coming through for you. At the root of your situation is the Devil card. So you might be, up against some sort of false truths, something that, where the devil's kind of in your head and kind of you're listening. So if that's the root of the situation, you may want to try to not do that. Try to not let those negative thoughts come in and have that big of an influence from, because these are things that are false. These are things that are not true. This could also be kind of like obsessive thinking or rumination, that sort of thing. It could be that you're dealing with some sort of dependency too. So just look around and see what sort of negative things are in your life. And if meditation works for you, you may want to kind of meditate yourself through those and, affirmations, anything that you can do to get yourself in a more positive mindset. In your recent past here is the Ace of Cups. So, something where, you maybe you've had a lot of emotions overflowing and you're coming through and, maybe you're just kind of fighting things a little bit this week. And that happens, again, believe in the impossible. Just believe that you can get through this and turn it around and get on the other side in a more positive way of thinking here. What is on your mind this week is the Hierophant. So you may be seeking out some guidance. That might be why you're watching a tarot reading right now. That you're kind of just seeking out, maybe you're feeling a little bit, again, like you against the world, and you're just looking for someone to be on your team. So, if you're here doing that, I'm on your team. You can get through this. These are, the things that we go through that are difficult are the life lessons. It's what makes us who we are, and we're moving through those and working things out so that we can get to the other side and learn things. And you've got to just stop and learn the hard lessons sometimes. I know it's hard, but you'll get through it. What is just ahead of you this week is things kind of happening rapidly here with this Eight of Wands. So yeah, it looks like, there's a lot of changes, a lot of things coming through for you. Let me move this down there so you can see those cards. A lot of rapid things happening, again, with an ending. And, there's a lot of things where anytime you have cards like this that are really facing you and looking right at you, these are kind of confrontations, and confrontations with with yourself, or kind of with the world. So the Devil card is doing that also, but the Hierophant is doing it as well. So make sure that you're taking the wisdom that's around you. Make sure you're taking that in and putting it to use, because there's a lot of conflicting and just information coming in hard and fast. So make sure you're just choosing the things that are right for you right now. In your advice position is to have a sense of humor. We've got this Page of Cups coming out. Even when things are getting a little bit crazy, sometimes you just have to laugh. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe, whatever it is that you're going through. And sometimes you do just have to laugh at things. So make sure to remember that. And if you're just getting to where you're feeling frustrated, try to find something that does make you laugh. So that's something we all have to do. If you're just feeling like, ugh, find a stand-up comedian that makes you laugh. Find a friend that just makes you laugh with whatever. There's humor all around us if you're really looking for it. What is beyond your control this week is the Nine of Wands. So lots of wands. And also, the nine is about just looking back. This is our Wounded Warrior card, where you're looking back on something that you've been through, and you are kind of assessing things and taking those notes and making use of that information. That's really beyond your control this week. Again, if you've got some sort of ending, of course you're kind of in that assessment mode of like, what do I need to look back on? What's going on? How am I going to move forward, more positively? And what am I learning? That's really what that card is trying to say to you there. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the Empress card. So of course, this is our biggest creativity card. And this is about long-term creativity and entering into things that will come to fruition, many months and even years down the road. Of course, can be a card of pregnancy, but it doesn't always have to be. But of course, I always mention that. But it's a card of, if not actual pregnancy, it's giving birth to something that you're going to make a long-term commitment to. So this could just be improving yourself. This could be, trying to work through this situation, and making those long-term changes that might take months to see the result of. But go ahead. Of course, here we are sitting at the new year, and a lot of us make those resolutions, and we turn around a couple months later and think, oh, I really stuck to that one. Try to stick to things, but don't bite off more than you can chew. Remember that each new moon that we have in each cycle, throughout every month, is kind of a chance to do the next new thing. So if you want to make that list, maybe just bite off one thing for this month and say, what, this month I'm going to work on whatever that is for you. Maybe it is exercise, and really just focus on that one thing and try to work that into your routine. And then if there's other things, make a list. You can pick another thing next month and say, okay, next month on the new moon cycle, I'm going to work on this thing for myself. And that's how we all have to kind of move through and make those personal changes. In your outcome position is the Magician, which I love. I love that this reading ends up this way, because we've not only got the Empress with the creativity, but the Magician with just the amazing awareness of what is it that you do want to change. The Magician asks you, with all of these elements, you're trying to change your emotional life. Are you trying to change how you think or how you communicate? Are you going to work on passions? Are you going to make money? So the Magician asks you to really make those decisions and ask you, what is it that you want to change? So take some time to think about those things. Again, we're at this point of resolution, but you don't have to do the list of everything you want to change about yourself right now. Just bite off what you can chew right now and deal with it, manage it, and work on just developing better habits for yourself. What is hidden from you this week is going to be the Six of Wands, which is a little bit of kind of just congratulations from your peers and the people around you. And maybe it is because things are chaotic that that's not really, you're not there yet. So when you make these changes and when you make these positive things, hopefully that's a card that will come up in the next week or a few weeks ahead as people take note of the positive changes that you are making. So let's see, let's look at the final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Again, I'm going to go back to your overall card, which was to believe in the impossible. Go ahead, try it. Believe in the impossible, set those goals for yourself, and then work towards achieving them. All right, from the Soul Oracle deck here, the message that you have is to find your backbone. I'm sorry, that's so dark. I really need to investigate why that light isn't working. Find your backbone and stand up and do the things that that you know you can do, that you know you are strong enough to do. Let's see. Excuse me, what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Sagittarius, January 4 through 10. Self-care. All right, right here. And the card that you get is the card called Mind. You are the master of your inner world, and you decide how the outer world affects you. Cultivate a calm inner state. Boy, we can all use that advice, right? And so that's what I was talking about with meditation. That's just a secondary reminder for you that maybe getting through some of this chaos right now just requires you to go within, really figure out what it is that you want right now. Look for your inner wisdom, but also outer wisdom. Find things that inspire you, with that Hierophant card to try to quell, this devil energy that's down there. But what is it that you do want to create long term for yourself right now? And which element do you want to use? You can use all of them. The magician is not limiting you. But if you pick one right now, again, the new moon for the next cycle comes around and you can make new habits on another thing then. So, Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there was something you can take away from this reading and use in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know if any of this resonated with you or if you have questions about anything. I'd be happy to answer those for you. Also, if you like my reading style, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel, but most of all, it'll help you find me next week and come back and we'll see if this energy continues or if there's some completely fresh new energy here for you next week. So once again, thanks so much, Sagittarius. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.